Anyway, again, Chad Edwards, Assistant Vice President, Capital Planning. We do have a lot of projects going on in Dallas. Second alignment, D2, the Cotton Belt project. We have platform extensions that we have very soon kicking off, streetcar in downtown, and then just other things like a comprehensive operations analysis, which is a bus system review of all of our routes in the system. And so there's a lot going on with that. So very quickly, I'll give you an idea of what DART is if you're not from the North Texas area, and then I'll move on into the projects themselves. It was created in 1983. We have 13 cities that make up our membership, and it's roughly 700 square miles for our service area. Our population has increased, as Meredith has said, very substantially over the years. And currently we serve 2.3 million people in a region of about 6.6 million people. So there's a lot of opportunity for us to provide public transit to people within our service area, and then those folks who want to come into our service area and actually work in either downtown Dallas or in the Plano-Richardson area as well. We are funded with 1 cent sales tax out of those 13 cities, and that totals about $542 million every year. So yes, that's a lot of money, but we do provide a lot of service on the ground as well. We are made up of, of a multitude of modes. We do have a light rail system. We have buses. We have our shuttles, which we work with the McKinney Avenue Trolley and other site-specific shuttles as well. We have paratransit, van pool, and then we have flexible route service as well. There's a lag here between my button pushing and when the slide goes. So this is our current system map that we have, and this shows that there's 93 miles of light rail in the system. And if Gary Thomas was here, he'd want me to say that it's the longest light rail system in the universe. Sometimes it's universe. Thank you. So I get credit for that, right, Cliff? Yes, thank you. So we did just add here recently in August the 3 miles and 2 stations on the blue line. That's the dashed section there at the end, right down here. So that's our South Oak Cliff line that has just been added, the Camp Wisdom and the UNT station. So that's we're very proud of that. And there's a lot more to come. So I'll go ahead and get into the 3 projects that I wanted to talk to you about today. There's a lot of others, and if at the end we have time, we'll be more than happy to answer more questions about the other projects. Downtown second alignment. Whatever you knew about D2 last year, forget about it. It's all changed. We spent about a year on D2 working through it to get to this map. And we were working on this map and working on this corridor for about a year, and then the Dallas City Council and some public advocates had said, you know what, we don't like the way you're doing it, so let's find another way. And that ended up in a subway option, which I don't have a map for yet because we're still trying to figure out where that alignment goes. But we did spend a lot of time on it, and what we've been telling people is that it's not necessarily a win or lose for DART as far as converting from what we had here into a subway. It's a win for everybody because the public process worked. And we go out to the public and we talk to stakeholders and technical people and riders and just about anybody, and we asked them what they want to see in a project, and they told us what they wanted to see in a project, and it was a subway in downtown. And so that's what we started working on. And so we've identified some of the things that we find that why is D2 important. It certainly adds core capacity in downtown. We are getting to a level in some corridors that we have too many people on board and not enough space. And so a couple of options there is to add more trains or to increase headways or to move more trains through downtown. And that was one of the options that we had wanted to identify there. Operational flexibility with downtown, as we put in another alignment in downtown, then if something happens on the existing mall, we're able to move trains down to that other corridor and continue as best we can the operations of the system. If we have an accident or something like that at the existing mall, that shuts everybody down, and that really causes problems for our commuters. And then it enhances mobility for current and future riders. And so it's a good opportunity for us. So this is a little graphic that we put together to give an idea of what capacity issues we have on our red line. We shared this with the Federal Transit Administration, and what it does, it gives you each direction by 5-minute increments all day long at each of the stations. On the red line. What did I just do? Somebody hit escape. Yeah. So anyway, what that graphic is showing is the capacity that we have on our trains and where that maximum capacity is. And so what it does is, you can see it gets really low, so that means that there's just a few people on the trains, and then when that line gets higher, it starts to meet a threshold that the FTA has said that when you hit that threshold, you're going to be over capacity within the next 5 years. And then that's where we have started asking for funds to implement the D2 line. And we are back. Look at that. Okay, so what happens, it'll start slowing down here in just a moment at the 4 o'clock hour in the afternoon on the train that will be heading northbound. Here it comes. So you can see over these increments, what happens, it slows down, and then we hit that, just barely hit that line, and then it drops again. And so this was our work to FTA to help sell the fact that we needed some additional funds to build the D2 project. Now that was when it was a $650 million project. So we're going to work on it with them with the $1.3 billion project that we're working on for the D2 subway now. So this is just a little background, recent actions that we had. We have been working on this very actively. I won't go through these since we've had a little technical difficulty. We did ask for an extension since we had to go back and essentially restart our project development phase. And so the FTA said, you know what, thanks for asking us a year in advance for the extension. However, let's get through the next year and see where you are, and then come to us again. And we'll be more open to the idea potentially of extending project development. And so that's what we're doing. So the first map I showed you is where we ended up just a little while ago in 2016, mid-2016, and this is where we are now. It's a blank map, essentially. We have asked the stakeholders, we have asked the property owners, we've asked the elected officials, bless you, and where do you want this line? And so we have actually got a lot of information now, and roughly about 16 different alternatives to put it into a subway. So we're now working our way through that. We had a technical committee meeting yesterday. We've got a stakeholder committee next week, and then public meetings for D2 next week. So if you're in town and want to go to some public meetings, I'd be more than happy to have you at DART headquarters at noon and then at 6:30 on Thursday. So those people know. So Cliff will be there, I'm sure. So this is where we're really starting with. So like I said, a lot of opportunity there to really draw lines on the map and see where the connection might actually be. Right now we're in January. We're starting the screening evaluation for the alternatives that we're trying to do, trying to take that 16 down to 8, down to 3 as fast as we can, because we have a decision point in the May, June timeframe that we have to hit so that we can get all the information that we need organized into the FTA in the September timeframe, so we can make that submittal and keep on track and not lose too much more time than what we've already done. So that was D2 in a nutshell, and the fastest you've ever heard anybody from DART talk about D2, I'm sure. So next is Cotton Belt. This is a 26-mile-long corridor on the north side of our service area that connects the DFW airport on the west to the Plano-Richardson area on the east side. This is a pretty exciting corridor. We've had kind of some starts and stops on the Cotton Belt. Some folks who really want this project to happen, also known as the City of Addison. And then we've also had some others that don't want the project to occur, which will remain nameless at this point. So as far as the project is concerned, like I said, Plano, or DFW to Plano, right now we're looking at a single track option. We would have double track, stations would be double tracked, excuse me, and sidings where needed. To get us across the corridor. It would connect to the TexRail project, if you guys have heard about that from the Fort Worth Transportation Authority on the west side of town, which once the whole project, Cotton Belt and TexRail are completed, you'd be able to get from downtown Fort Worth, past DFW Airport, all the way to Plano and Richardson. And you know, that's pretty exciting for folks who might want to live and commute in that particular part of town. Up to 11 stations. There may be between 7 to 11 stations as we're looking at it at this point. 30-minute peak headways, and as we add more people, which we think we will, we'll get those headways down to about 20 minutes. And may actually be 15 minutes as we look at how it connects to our light rail system at each of those stations along the way. It connects, if I'm looking at the map, it connects to the red line, green line, and then ultimately the orange line in downtown, in DFW Airport. So several connections of our system. And basically what this Cotton Belt project does, it alleviates the fact of having to go downtown Dallas and then back up if you're heading out to the airport from Plano. You're able to cut across the corridor and cut off probably 30 to 45 minutes of your travel time if you're going to the airport by rail. This is just a rendering that we had put together to give an idea to the citizens in North Dallas of what we were looking at as far as some betterments and amenities there to deal with the sound, some safety issues as well. And so you can see there the train in the middle, we have the sound wall there, and then on the outside of that sound wall between the houses and the wall is a bike path with trees and landscaping and things like that. So this is just a rendering that we have to really start people thinking of what the corridor could look like. And then the streetcar, as you may know or may have ridden while you're here in town, the Dallas streetcar has been a pretty successful project for us, and it has already grown once. Been extended into the Bishop's Arts area. It currently crosses, connects at Union Station and goes to Bishop Arts. And we're looking at how the streetcar here can now connect through downtown and connect to the McKinney Avenue trolley. And so there's been some options here that have been laid out in the previous couple of years. One of those is the Main Street alignment. So where we are, Union Station, this is already existing. How would we connect into the urban circulator and the McKinney Avenue trolley that's already out there, which is the blue line on the map? And so early idea was, well, let's go down Main Street. You know, that'd be a pretty neat opportunity for us to have streetcars in downtown Dallas on Main Street and service the residents and the citizens and same folks, I guess, and the restaurants and visitors all in downtown with the streetcar. Downtown Dallas, Inc. has come up and say, you know what, maybe we don't want it on Main Street. It's kind of narrow. We've got a lot of parking and other things. And how about an Elm Commerce Street alignment? And so we're looking at that. Well, as D2 had started being discussed as a subway option, we said, you know what, let's put the streetcar alignment on hold until we can figure out where the D2 alignment should go in downtown. We don't want to start one project and then as we're trying to dig a hole and mess up the one that we just finished. So, it's forward thinking and planning, right? That's what we try to do. So anyway, we're trying to make sure that where we put D2 and where then the streetcar goes work together. And if D2 is going to be closer to where the existing mall is, then the streetcar could be in the southern part of downtown and really provide service in that area as far as trips are concerned. So there's some work that's being done, and that's the last bullet point there is really we're making our way from what we knew with D2 in the streetcar to this uncertainty and trying to refine it with D2, and then how does the streetcar really fit in. So we're always asking for feedback and comments, and so we've set up a couple of websites for Cotton Belt and D2, and then we also have email addresses that you can send directly to these two email addresses that get right into the public record for us. And so if you send anything to the D2 at dart.org or the Cotton Belt at dart.org, that gets right in, and we start addressing those and commenting and replying to those comments the best we can. And with that, that's all I have. So, all right. Thank you very much.